Are you looking for professional training in forensic mental health?
My name is Itiel Dror, and my background and expertise is in cognitive neuroscience. So let's start talking about decision making. So let's talk about experts in wine tasting. So I assume or hope that you've had the pleasure of going to a restaurant and ordering wine, and they bring it to you and you smell it and you look at the color and you taste it. The question is the real expertise in wine tasting. Obviously there are, but is there bias? And there is bias in tasting when you taste wine, and not only people who are not experts, but even experts who are trained in that. For example, if you take a very expensive wine that costs hundreds of dollars, but instead of a nice bottle, you go and put it in a bottle of very cheap wine, one you get in the supermarket for buy one, get one free for $9.95, and you put the expensive wine and you give it to experts, and the real high quality wine comes out of a cheap bottle, they taste it and they say, oh, this is terrible wine, and they don't like it, it's disgusting. For forensic science to successfully take on the issue of contextual bias, it's important that one correctly considers the risks, that measures are taken when needed, and that they are proportionate and appropriate. The brain is a machine. It's a machine that processes information. It's a very complicated machine, but we know quite a lot about it. And what I'm interested, because I'm a cognitive neuroscientist, is those mechanisms in the brain that process information. And what I'm going to tell you now, and I'm going to show it to you and prove it to you, is that the way the brain perceives information doesn't only depend on the information itself, but what the brain does with it. That's quite an extreme claim. So if you see this illustration, you have the blue balls. This is what we hear, what we see, what we touch, and the brain processes them. And what you see doesn't depend on the reality, the objective reality out there, but how the brain processes it, how the brain represents it. This determines how you perceive the environment. It's a complicated issue. As I said, it's sensitive, it's not always comfortable, and I try to challenge you to think about issues of cognitive bias. What we've been really talking about is context management. What context, what information do you have when you do forensic work? What context do you actually need? And the dangers of having context that is irrelevant and may influence your observations, your interpretations, judgment, and conclusions.
To learn more about Concept's professional training opportunities, visit us at concept-ce.com.